Hi you guys, and welcome back to Tantric Tuesdays. So we are continuing on with the topic of energy and conscious connection, sexuality, Tantra. And this is the second of a 3-part series. Last week I talked to you about a little bit and opened up the door of how you relate to, how you hold the space for, how you see, how you play in the land of energy individually. This is a little bit more about taking that further and how you play with other. And in the next video, I'm going to talk to you about how we see energy in terms of culture, how our culture holds this space of sexuality and sex and energy. And this is a really big topic to unpack, so I'm not going to connect to every point and nuance. I'm just trying to kind of get the big layers and the big topics and the big areas. So let's look at energy in terms of playing with other and enjoying other, because the thing about sex is it should fill us up. It should feed us with energy. You should be marinating in just delicious present moment energy for hours, sometimes days after you connect to another human being on an intimate, doesn't even have to be sexual, but also sexual level. And I think what's happening is just the exact reverse opposite of that, is we come at sex and connection with other and we think, I don't have the time. I've expended all my energy during the work day or the work week, and to think about sex to me is to think about expelling more energy that I just don't even have right now to give. Or I just don't even have the energy to hold that chatterbox mind of mine, like, if I'm gonna have sex, then I should dress up and I should wear this outfit and I should look like this and he should look like this and this orgasm should happen, and then we're off to the races in our head and we think, I don't even want to go there, right? Okay, so if we could take those two expectations and those two utterly false paradigms about sex just right out of the picture, and you could come to a place where anytime you had a sexual or intimate connection, you would allow it to feed you and fill you up and run through you, boy, wouldn't you want to play in that land much more than you are playing in it now. I suspect, statistically speaking anyway. I'm just basing this on basic stats of the short duration that we often are having sex and the limited times we play and have sex with our partners. It's just dismal right now. It's kind of dismal out there. So what I'm telling you is, if you just flip the switch in your brain and in your body and in your chemistry, you'll start to completely see this as a delicious thing that fills you up and feeds you. Because if sex is not like filling you up and feeding you and just bleeding out creativity and joy in every facet of your life, work, play, relationship, home life, everywhere, then you're not doing it right. We're not doing it right, and we're not doing it right. And that's why I suspect you're watching these videos to maybe say, hey, is there a different perspective? Is there a different gestalt or a way to look at this topic? And there absolutely is. So let's kind of tie back to that thread from the last video. The fundamental thing that you need to remember about energy, and I told you this in the last video, the fundamental truth about energy is, if you can just hold that space of present moment for yourself, you will always be tapped into energy, Tao, flow, Shaktipat, Kundalini, sexual energy, life force energy, whatever you call it. You will always be linked to that if you can just hold this space for yourself. And that starts, it's kind of a 3-part process, connecting to energy in the present moment. So the first part of that process is you have to come into a place of what they call Shaktipat, or empty space, or metta meditation, the first layer of metta meditation. That's a traditional Buddhist loving kindness, compassion place. Or they call it Ho'oponopono in other cultures. They recognize this concept of, I need to hold this space for myself, and fundamentally recognize the number one rule is, I feed me. I fill my cup up. Only I can hold the space to allow my cup to be filled up, to allow love to just pour through me. Nobody outside me fills me up. And that was the biggest fucked up, most fundamental lie that we've been fed. You complete me. That was the most ridiculous ass concept our culture could have ever taken in. So fundamentally, in order to allow the second principle about love, it runs through you. You don't give love, you don't receive love. You're just an instrument. It runs through you. It can always be accessed. You can always access an orgasmic state, whether you're having intercourse or sex or foreplay or no play, whether you're sitting just randomly. I can connect to that orgasmic energy in my body anytime, that energy of love, that fundamental universal energy of love. I just allow it to funnel up or down or however you describe it through my being at any point in time. I have access to it, but it's because I can hold this space, this empty space. I'll post a video on this term Shakti pot, but that's a Kundalini term, Shakti energy pot to transfer. And Yin-Yang does a really good job of describing this. It's when you like go to a guru or you're sitting with somebody that's really juicy and you're like, oh, I just feel love from you right now. I just feel really good. You do kind of feel that energy, because what's happening is that person is holding this place of empty space. They have no expectation from you. They're just getting filled up. They're just tapping into and allowing love and pleasure and joy and joie de vivre, whatever you call it, to just run through their body, and they're full up and it's just coming out and bleeding out. And when you're around that kind of person, that's what they see. You get a little transference of that energy, or you're like, ooh, I like that, you know. But what's really cool about that, and that a lot of people don't get or understand, is when you are the person that is holding an empty space, non-duality, Shaktipat, that space of pure love inside, and you're just allowing yourself to be a conduit, it doesn't matter what happens out here. It doesn't even matter who you connect to. You could be sitting in a prison cell and still be in that state of love and ecstasy. You could be anywhere and just tap into that place. And it's not going to hurt you to let that overflow, to let that person bask. It's like they just get to bask in you, like you're glowing in the sun or in that love, and it's just radiating out from you. And it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to ever be able to reach in and take that from you if you are able to hold this first space. And in metta meditation, traditional Buddhist love and kindness, compassion meditation, or in Ho'oponopono or in Shaktipat, it's really all about coming to that place where you sit down and if you want to learn this method, look back through my videos. That's your homework for this week. Look back through metta meditation videos. I've posted a lot of them on how to do metta, or you can research Ho'oponopono or metta on the internet, or you can look up this video I'm posting on Shaktipat. But it's about holding that space of like complete and utter openness and vulnerability and ability to hold this present moment. So you have energy because you're not wasting your time or energy on the past or the future or the to-do list or what your sex should look like or what it should feel like. You're just enjoying it. You're just allowing it to run through you. You're just totally present in that moment. Now, that's why I talked to you about that last video. It's all about being present in the moment, being present in the moment. So you hold this space for yourself to be able to be present in the moment. And then you have access. I told you in that last video, the fundamental rule about energy is when you're present in this moment, you have an access point to limited potentiality of energy. And it doesn't mean that you're like running a marathon all the time, or you're in super duper high-end, high energy flow states. You can maintain a flow state in this low, delicious, bassy place, or this higher, more energy, more like throwdown kind of connection and sex kind of space. And in every space in between that, and also in that space, you melt into this place where the fundamental concept of energy in Tantra is positive polarity on males. Like they have these penises, the outgoing yang energy, and then in their heart, so it alternates positive, negative, and then the heart is negative, and they get their cup filled up. So the opposite would happen with a female body. And this doesn't mean that this is this is completely androgynous. You could have one partner that's more yang and one partner that's more yin. And one time you have sex, that partner's more yin and that one's more yang. And next time that one's more yang and that one's more yin. There's no limit to the boundlessness of how you can play with energy and sex. And so when it comes to women, we tend to be more receptive and open. Of course, like the vagina is an entry point. It's a point of penetration. And then negative, positive at the heart. Of course we give, we love, we have this amazing body designed for love, for creation, for, to hold that space. And so when you connect those polarities, it's like this loop that comes around and you just get to play in this loop. But secret, that loop, you can connect to it in yourself anytime, because you have the polarities of yin and yang both in your body. How could you not? How could we not? Primarily, we often run through life ignorant of our yin-yang polarities, and we tend to stay and play and be very, very yang most of our life, or yin sometimes. But when you recognize that you have the capacity to pull and play and be in both of these, then eventually in sex, you come into that circulation and that pitch perfect place of equanimity, of present moment, of love just flowing through you, all on your own. So that's the fucking bonus. If you are lucky enough to, in this lifetime, get to that place in yourself, you're golden. Now imagine if you are lucky enough to, in this lifetime, come into a space where other holds that place. Super bonus. That's what they're talking about when they talk about like this person's like a kindred spirit, or you have that deep connection, like a twin flame. And when you can come into that space, like you're at your prime and they're at their prime, and you're both primed and just love is just pouring through you and you're present. And then when you play in that space, it's like the coolest thing ever, right? So if you're not thinking about, if you're not playing in terms of sex in this realm, anywhere near this realm, then why? Why not? Sometimes it's because we have past scars, or we have past traumas, or we have past abuses, and we don't know how to get to this place. Well, I just gave you the entry point in that last video. It starts, keep it simple, silly, it starts with the breath. So what you can do next time you're thinking about connecting to your partner, if you're going to set a date to come and connect and have sex with your partner, an intimate connection, then throughout that day, close your eyes, stop and take a breath and just get present. Shinzen Young calls these little micro hits of, like, you can do a micro hit of meditation to just kind of clear out your day, get present. So when you come into that sexual interaction or connection with that person, you're not bringing all of your baggage from the day. And the other thing you can do is, just before you have sex, hold that space. That space looks like, in sex and connection, letting go of the images, letting go of the thoughts, letting go of the inhibitions, letting go of the conditioned thinking, just allowing yourself to fucking enjoy that moment in front of that other person. And if you can't feel like you can be present like that in front of that other person, then you need to stop, look back, and assess your relationship to that person. Is it something that is in you that's holding you back from being there? Is it something in them that's holding back from being there? Because this is what's happening. We're just throwing our shit at each other and haphazardly connecting and hoping the other person will fill us up. And like we don't know how to fit the pieces of the puzzle together. And this is a process. Tantra is a practice and a process about saying, how do I go back to square one? How do I strip away some of those layers? How do I heal myself to allow myself to be present in this moment with this other person, with this being, to be present in this moment with whoever is in front of me, and to connect? I think that's a wrap. Let's call it right there. I'm going to post for you over the next week a couple of Yab-Yum practices that you can do. That's kind of energy cycle running practices, traditional Tantra. You're face-to-face or sitting on your partner, clothed or naked, in sex or out of sex. And it's just about connecting and feeling, okay, what is the positive and negative energy polarities in my body, and just it's really also just a practice of getting intimate and staring into your partner's eyes and looking into that window. And I'll talk to you more about those practices as we go, but if you want somewhere else to go to start playing in this land, that's a Yab-Yum, Y-A-B-Y-U-M is a great place to do that. And I think I've posted a few videos on it, but I'll also post a few links to other people and teachers and guides that I found to be juicy and delicious in that realm. So thanks for joining me today, you guys. Namaste.